औज़ुबिल्लाहि मिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। आज हम एक प्रॉब्लम करने वाले हैं ओपन फीड वाटर हीटर के बेस पे, ताकि हम थोड़ा सा उसको अंडरस्टैंड करें कि हाउ टू सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम। स्टेटमेंट आपके सामने मौजूद है, मैं उसको जल्दी से रीड आउट कर लेता हूँ और फिर उसके बाद हम इसको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं। सो स्टेटमेंट है, consider a regenerative vapor power cycle with one open feed water heater. Steam enters the turbine at 8 megapascal, 480 degrees centigrade and expand to 0.7 megapascal, where some of the steam is extracted and diverted to the open feed water heater operating at 0.7 megapascal. The remaining steam expands through the second stage turbine to the condenser pressure of 0.008 megapascal. Saturated liquid exits the open feed water heater at 0.7 megapascal. The isentropic efficiency of each turbine stage is 85%, and each pump operates isentropically. If the net power output of the cycle is 100 megawatt, determine the thermal efficiency, the mass flow rate of the steam entering the turbine in kilogram per hour. So what we are given, so हमारे पास एक रीजनरेटिव वेपर पावर साइकिल है जिसके अंदर हमारे पास एक फीड वाटर हीटर है। स्टीम टरबाइन के अंदर इंटर हो रही है 8 मेगा पास्कल पे और उसका टेम्परेचर है 480 डिग्री सेल्सियस। जब वो एक्सपेंड होती है फर्स्ट स्टेज में, सो इट द प्रेशर ड्रॉप्स टू 0.7 मेगा पास्कल, जिस प्रेशर पे some of the steam is extracted and diverted to the open feed water heater at 0.7 मेगा पास्कल। उसके बाद सेकेंड स्टेज में जब कंप्रेशन एक्सपेंशन होती है और कंडेंसर प्रेशर जो है वो हमारे पास 0.008 मेगा पास्कल तक पहुंच जाता है। Saturated liquid exit the open feed water heater at 0.7 megapascal. The isentropic efficiency of each turbine is 85%. So it means that the expansion in the turbine is not ideal. There are some losses, 15% losses. The efficiency is 85% for both the turbines. And each pump operates isentropically. So it means that there is no loss in the pump because they are operating isentropically. If the net power of the output of the cycle is 100 megawatt, तो अगर नेट आउटपुट हमारे पास 100 मेगावाट है तो वो कहता है कि थर्मल एफिशिएंसी फाइंड करो और मास फ्लो रेट जो टरबाइन के अंदर इंटर हो रहा है इन किलोग्राम पर आवर वो फाइंड करो। सो हम इसी की तरफ आगे बढ़ते हैं, इसको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं। इस वक्त हमारे पास आप देख सकते हैं तो ये न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम है, इसका ये स्कीमेटिक डायग्राम है जिसमें वो कहता है कि बॉयलर से हमारे पास स्टीम जा रही है इनटू द टरबाइन। सो यहाँ से स्टीम जा रही है इनटू द टरबाइन। फिर वो कहता है हमारे पास, और जो स्टीम जा रही है उसका जो टेम्परेचर है वो है 480 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, जबकि प्रेशर है आपके पास 8 मेगा पास्कल। सो जो स्टीम है जो टरबाइन के अंदर इंटर हो रही है उसका टेम्परेचर है 480 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड और उसका जो प्रेशर है वो है 8 मेगा पास्कल। उसके बाद वो कहता है कि हमारे पास एक एक्सपेंशन होती है और हमारे पास थोड़ी सी जो स्टीम है उसको हम पहले टरबाइन से या प्राइमरी टरबाइन से ब्लीड आउट करके ओपन फीड वाटर हीटर को सप्लाई करते हैं। सो हमारे पास 2 से एक्सपेंशन होती है, तो यहाँ से यानी हमारे पास दिस इज़ 2। सो 2 पे हमारे पास कुछ ब्लीड आउट हो जाती है जिसको हमने ऑलरेडी पता है, फ्रैक्शन है, मास फ्रैक्शन है y। इसी तरीके से फिर हमारे पास दोबारा सेकंड से एक्सपेंशन होती है सेकेंडरी टरबाइन में 2 to 3. There is a secondary expansion from 2 to 3, which is obviously 1 minus y. फिर कंडेंसर से हमारे पास एक पंप में जाता है वो, एंड 3 to 4 हमारे पास कंडेंसेशन प्रोसेस हो रहा है. हम पंप 1 को इनपुट वर्क दे रहे हैं और ये इसको पंप कर रहा है इनटू द फीड वाटर हीटर एट 5. सो यहाँ से जो हमारे पास स्टीम जो सैचुरेटेड लिक्विड आ रही है उसको हमने उस ओपन फीड वाटर हीटर में इनपुट कर दिया. अब यहाँ से हमारे पास स्टीम निकल के वापस दूसरे पंप में आ रही है एट 6. ओपन फीड वाटर हीटर में जब हीट एक्सचेंज हो जाएगी तो हमारे पास 6 पे हमारे पास दोबारा सैचुरेटेड लिक्विड आ जाएगा और पंप फिर उसको दोबारा पंप करके बॉयलर के अंदर इनपुट कर देगा और हमारे पास 6 से 7 हमारे पास पंपिंग हो रही है. तो आप देख सकते हैं कि हमारे पास टोटल 7 स्टेजेस में ये पूरा साइकिल कंप्लीट हो रहा है. 1 से 2, फिर 2 से 3 में दोबारा एक्सपेंशन, 1 से 2 एक्सपेंशन, फिर 2 से 3 की एक्सपेंशन, फिर 3 से 4 में कंडेंसेशन, 4 से 5 पंपिंग इनटू द फीड वाटर, 5 से 6 हमारे पास यहाँ पे ओपन फीड वाटर हीटर में हीट एक्सचेंज हो रहा है, 6 to 7 फिर पंपिंग इनटू द बॉयलर. उसने हमें कहा हुआ है कि थर्मल एफिशिएंसी फाइंड करनी है एंड मास फ्लो रेट फाइंड करना है. बिफोर गोइंग ऑनवर्ड, सो हम देखते हैं कि हम कुछ अजम्पशंस करते हैं इस वक्त, और वो अजम्पशंस हमारे पास ये हैं कि ईच कंपोनेंट इन द साइकिल इज़ एनालाइज्ड एज अ स्टेडी स्टेट कंट्रोल वॉल्यूम. तो सबसे पहले हर स्टेज पे अगर आप गौर से देखें तो यहाँ पे आपको चंद डॉटेड लाइंस नज़र आएंगी विच मीन्स अ कंट्रोल वॉल्यूम. सो एवरी सिस्टम, every component of this system is taken as steady state control volume. All processes are internally reversible except for the expansion through 2-stage turbines and mixing in open feed water heater. So in mixing process in an open feed water heater, and the expansion between the two turbines is not actually reversible, because here the losses takes place. Kinetic energy and potential energy effects are negligible. Saturated liquid exit open feed water heater and the condenser. So what we say that saturated liquid actually exit from the open feed water heater and the saturated and the condenser. So that whatever is leaving from the condenser will be saturated liquid, whatever is leaving from the open feed water heater will be a saturated liquid. Now let's see how to show these processes or these steps on a TS diagram. So now you see that from 1 to 2, here in this from 1 to 2, the superheated steam from the boiler expands in the primary turbine. So what happens that from 1 to 2 we have an expansion. But since this expansion is not isentropic, because we know that there are losses in the turbine and the turbine efficiency is only 85%, so it means that we will give it a name of 2S rather than 2. And actually what is happening, that it would be like this, 2, because there are losses. Similarly, from 1 to 2 there is an expansion, then from 2 to 3 there is again an expansion. As you can see, from 2 to 3 there is again an expansion in the secondary turbine. Again there are losses, so it would not be isentropic. Again it would be like this with losses. So this is 3. Then from 3 to 4 we have condensation process. So from 3 to 4 we have a condensation process and we would have a saturated liquid at 4. Then from 4 to 5 there is a pumping process. So from 4 to 5 the compression would take place in a pump. Then from 5 to 6 you can see that the heat exchange takes place, and again we have said that whatever leaves the open feed water heater would be a saturated liquid. So from 5 to 6 there would be a saturated liquid like this. So at 6 we would have a saturated liquid, and remember from 2 we have bleed out some steam into the open feed water heater. So from 2 it would come again to join 6. Then from 6 to 7 you can see again the process of pumping takes place, and from 6 to 7 again the process of pumping takes place. And then from 7 to 1 we have the boiler or the heat addition, which would be like this. So this is the TS diagram of this particular problem. Now what given data we can mention on this diagram? So let me show it over here. We have the temperature at the boiler, the exit from the boiler. As you can see, at 1 we have 480 degrees centigrade. So the temperature is 480 degrees Celsius. Similarly, this constant pressure curve, what is the pressure? So the given pressure is 8 megapascal. Similarly, it has been mentioned that when it bleeds out, so the open feed water heater is at a 0.7 megapascal pressure. So this line is actually of 0.7 megapascal, constant pressure line, and this line is again at a pressure of 0.008 megapascal, which is a condensation pressure mentioned in the problem. So we have this data. Whatever is the pressure at 1 would be the pressure at 7, whatever is the pressure at 2 would be the pressure at 6 and 5, and similarly whatever is the pressure at 3 would be the pressure at 4. Now we will move on further, and we are going to first make this table where we have nodes, pressure in megapascal, temperature in degree Celsius, specific enthalpy kilojoule per kilogram, entropy, specific entropy kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin, and the fraction, mass fraction. So for actually easy understanding, I have draw the same diagram again over here. Now you can see that what is 1. So at 1, node 1, the temperature is 480 degrees centigrade. So the temperature is 480 degree Celsius, and the pressure is, as you can see, 8 megapascal. So the pressure is actually 8 megapascal. Now it's quite easy to find out the enthalpy because we have pressure, we have the temperature. So from the steam table in a superheated region, you can see it is in a superheated region, we can find out H, and from the table the H comes out to be 3349.6. Similarly, you can find out the entropy, and the entropy, specific entropy, will come out to be 6.6613. And the mass fraction, what is the mass fraction at 1? So we have the entire steam over here, so ideally it is 1. Total fraction 100%. Then state 2. So as you can see, at state 2 we have a pressure, and the pressure is 0.7 megapascal. So the pressure is 0.7 megapascal at 2. Since we know all the pressure, so first we will actually fill us this pressure table. So whatever is the pressure at 2 would be the pressure at 6. So pressure at 2 is 0.7 megapascal, so 6 we have 0.7 megapascal, so at 6 we have 0.7 megapascal. Similarly, at 3 you can see that the pressure is 0.008, so at 3 the pressure is 0.008 megapascal, and whatever is the pressure at 3 would be the pressure at 4, so again it would be 0.008 megapascal. Now whatever is the pressure at 2 is the pressure at 6 and is same the pressure at 5. You can see that this is the constant pressure curve. So whatever is the pressure at 6 will be the pressure at 5 and 2, so it is again 0.7 megapascal. And whatever is the pressure at 1 would be the pressure at 7, because this is again a constant pressure line. So if we have 8 megapascal at 1, so we would have 8 megapascal at 0.7 as well. So now you can see that we actually know pressure at all the nodes, at all the points. Now let's see what would be the mass fraction. So at 1 we have complete 100% mass. At 2, what happens at 2? At 2 we actually separates the mass, as you can see from here. The mass fraction separated is y. So at 2 we have the mass fraction y. Similarly, at 3 you can see it's 1 minus y, because over here it's y, over here it would be 1 minus y. So y 1 minus y. So from 2 at 3 we have 1 minus y. Again, if at 3 we have 1 minus y, तो similarly 4 पे भी हमारे पास 1 minus y ही होगा. 5 पे भी हमारे पास 1 minus y ही होगा, क्योंकि ये 3 से 4 पे जा रहा है, 4 से 5 पे जा रहा है. अब 5 से जैसे ही वो 6 पे आएगा तो 6 से y plus 1 minus y, so it would again come out to be 100%, and it would be again 1, and again at 7 we would be have 1. So this is the mass fraction. 1 y minus 1 at 3, 1 minus y at 3, 1 minus y at 4, 1 minus y at 5, 1 at 6, and 1 at 7. Okay ji. Now moving on further, since there is a bit calculation involved in 2 and 3, because there is not a complete isentropic process, there is actually a different type of approach for solving this 2 and 3. So for now we are skipping this 2 and 3, we will solve that later. First we are going to solve those which can easily be handled out. So let's see, so let's forget about the 2 and 3 for now, we will solve it in a while. Let's come to 4. So now at 4 we know the pressure, which is 0.008 megapascal, and you can see the state is saturated liquid. So from the table we can see that at a saturated liquid the enthalpy at 0.008 megapascal would be actually 173.84 kilojoule per kilogram, and similarly the entropy is 0.5924. Okay, now we are going to solve this table, but mostly we do not require all these things. It is just for your understanding that how we can actually solve or make this table. Mostly we would not require most of these values, but to find out these values it is important to understand things, so we have to find out these values, and we have to look into the broader aspect of learning rather than what we need and what we not. When we get when all of you get such an expertise that you know which value is required, which not, then we would actually skip the values. But for now you have to find out the values, whatever is required in the table. Okay ji, and the temperature in front of this is 41 0.51 degrees Celsius. You can find out in the table. Now at 5, so at 5 it is in a subcooled region and the pressure is 0.7. Now the point is, whatever is the entropy at 4, you can see whatever is the entropy at 4 would be the entropy at 5 because it is an isentropic pumping as mentioned. So you can see that whatever is the entropy at 4 would be the entropy at 5. And now you have the pressure 0.7 megapascal and you have the entropy and the region is subcooled region. So you can go to the table and after performing the interpolation you will get nearly 174.6 the value of H and approximately 42, I would use the word approximately 42 degrees Celsius temperature at 5. Similarly, at 6 you can see that we have a pressure known which is 0.7 and again the state is saturated liquid. So again you go to the 0.7 megapascal pressure, look into the saturated liquid column and you will see that the enthalpy is 697 and the entropy is 1.9918. The temperature would be 164.95. So you can actually find out this in a table of a saturated liquid at 6. At 7 again, whatever is the entropy at 6, as you can see that from 4 to 5 and 6, 7, the approach is same because both are the isentropic pumping. From 6 to 7, again, whatever is the entropy at 6, the entropy at 7 would be the entropy at 7. So again, we can find out what is the enthalpy. We can go to the table at 8 megapascal. We have entropy, specific entropy, and by performing interpolation, we will get the value of enthalpy and nearly 167. I am avoiding the fraction part in the temperature, so nearly 167 degrees Celsius. So now all these have been solved or all these have been found through the steam table and the most of the table has actually been completed. Now for 2 and 3 there is a procedure that how we can find out the enthalpy because we are mostly interested in the enthalpy to find out the efficiency, thermal efficiency as well as the mass flow rate required. In this particular problem, so we do not need this entropy and this temperature over here. We will try to solve and fill the complete table. Now, whatever is what is the enthalpy at 2? To find out this, so the procedure is that H2, what would be the enthalpy at 2 over here? Obviously, it would be different from the enthalpy at 2s. So enthalpy at 2 would be actually the enthalpy at 1 minus the turbine efficiency H1 minus H2s. So H1 minus H2s and the efficiency of the turbine which we know. So in this equation we know H1, as you can see here in the table H1. We have the efficiency, the efficiency is 85%. We again have H1, same. We do not have H2s. So to find out H2s, we need, because this is inside the dome. If it is inside the dome, so obviously it means that there is some kind of a dryness fraction in this, and how much the dryness fraction is, we have to calculate that. So H2s is actually equal to HF plus X2s into HFG. Now we have HF, we can find out HF at 2. we have HFG, but we do not have X, the dryness fraction. So to find out the dryness fraction, we would use the entropy formula. S2S is equal to S2SF plus X4 S2SFG. From here you can calculate X4, X2 basically, or X2S. So X2S is equal to, you will find out it would come out to be 0.9902. How? So we know that what is S2S? What is S2S? Whatever is S1 would be S2S. So you know that. What is S2F? So S2F is 1.9918, and the S2FG is 4.7153 from the table. So you can find out the X2. Now we have X2S, so you have to put it right over here, and you will get H2S is equal to, it is 697 plus 0.9902 into 2065.8, and it comes out to be 2742.56 kilojoule per kilogram. So I just put the values in this particular formula. Now we have H2S. So now we have to put this H2S right over here, and we will get H2. So H2 is equal to, after putting all the values, we will get 2833.62 kilojoule per kg. What I did, so I just take this value of H2S and put it right over here. We have all these values, and we get 2833.62 kilojoule per kg. So what is the enthalpy? The enthalpy is 2833.62. Similarly, we will find out the same procedure. We are going to apply the same procedure for 3, because the same process is taking place. So it would be H3 is equal to H2 minus the efficiency into H2 minus H3S. And performing all this procedure again, we can find out H3, and the H3 would come out to be 2244.62 kilojoule per kilogram. So H3 value will come out to be 2244.62 kilojoule per kg, and it is 2244.62. Okay. Now, whatever we do not require these S and these temperature for this particular problem. If you want to find out, so it can be find out as well through the table. It would come out approximately to 194, and it would be 6.8432. How? You have the pressure, you have the enthalpy, just go into this table and you will get these values. Similarly, you can perform it for this as well at 3, that what would be the temperature at 3 and what would be the entropy at 3. Now the point is how we are going to find out the required things. So we need to find out the efficiency of this particular problem, thermal efficiency. Now we know that thermal efficiency is actually equal to the work done or the work output from the turbines to the input of the heat energy. So it is the work done net divided by heat input. So this is the formula we are using But before going into this detail, we need to find out another thing, and that is y. That what is the value of this y? What is the fraction of this y? So it can be found out from the open feed water heater. Now you can see here in an open feed water heater, the 5 and 2 and 6, these are involved in the open feed water heater. So now what you can see that okay, let me tell you from this. So this is the y we are going to find out. Now since this is a constant pressure curve, so we are going to find out y, and y means that how much steam or how much is bleeded from actually 2 to 5 is the total, and 5 to 6 is that mixing of this. As you can see, from 5 to 6 the mixing is going to take place, and now this mixing is how much? So this is H5 H6 minus H5. Okay, let me tell you, let me show you it in another way, and it is okay, let me tell you in another way. In H6 the mass fraction is 1. As you can see from the energy mass relation, we are seeing at 6 the mass is 1. How? I can tell you here. 6 the mass fraction is 1. So H6 into 1 total, which is out. We know that whatever is into the system, there are two inputs to this open feed water heater, 5 and 2, and one output. So this one output is actually equal to the sum of these two, and it would be H2 times y plus H5 into 1 minus y. At 2 we have y, and at 5 we have 1 minus y. So we added them. Now by solving, you can see that it will become H6 is equal to YH2 plus H5 minus YH5. Taking y common from these two, so you will get y equals to H2 minus H5 plus H5. We need y, so y equals to H6 minus H5 divided by H2 minus H5. So if you want to find out y, so we have all these values. We have H6 value, we have H5 value, we have all the H values in this table. So we are going to just put that over here, and you will find out that the value come out to be 0.1966, which means that 19.66% of the steam had been bleeded out from the first stage of this turbine. So we had found out the y. Now we are going to find out the net work. And what is the net work? We know that the net work is actually the work done by the turbine minus the work done by the pump, so, and the heat in. So this is the formula, we all know that. Now the work done by the turbine, so we have to find out the work done by the turbine. So the work done by the turbine is equal to, so there the two stage turbine, so we have to add both the works, and that is H1 minus H2 plus H2 minus H3. But there is, since the mass fraction is different, so we are going to see that how we are going to incorporate that. So it is H1 minus H2 plus, now from 1 to 2 the steam is 100%, but from 2 to 3 the steam is 1 minus y. So from 2 to 3 the steam is 1 minus y times H3 minus H2 minus H3, and it will come out to be 984.4 kilojoule per kilogram. So when you add the values, we have all the H values and we have the Y value now. So you just have to put it in over here and you will get the turbine work. Similarly, the work done by the pumps, we have two pumps, so we have to add them. As you can see, H5 minus H4, and again the fraction is 1 minus Y, plus H7 minus H6. So for the pump, we are going to find out that the process is H7 minus H6 plus 1 minus Y, H5 minus H4, and by putting all these values, you will get 8.7 kilojoule per kilogram. So this is the work done or the work input into the pump. The network is very simple. You have to minus subtract that. So we have to subtract that, and by subtraction we will get 984.4 minus 8.7 divided by Q in. So we are left with Q in. We have to find out the heat added, and you know that the heat added is from 1 and 7, is between 1 and 7, 7 to 1. The heat adding take place. So heat adding is going to be Q in is equal to H1 minus H7, and it would come out to be 2643.1 kilojoule per kg. So we have to put this value right over here, and it would become 2643.1, and the efficiency would come out to be 0.369, which means it was 36.9%. So the efficiency has been calculated quite easily. Now we are left with how to find out the mass fraction. So the mass fraction is again very simple. It's not that much difficult, and that can be found out very easily. How? So the process is that we know that we are given that the work done of the cycle is 100 watt, and that is the work done by the turbine and the work done by the pump. So the work done by the cycle or the network, we know that is 100 megapascal. So to find out let me tell you, it is actually 100 megawatt, not megapascal. So it is 100 megawatt, which is given in the problem statement, that the work done by the cycle is 100 megawatt, and the work done by the turbine is actually 984.4 kilojoule per kilogram minus 8.7 kilojoule per kilogram. Now we need to find out the mass rate in kilogram per hour. So we have to make some adjustments right over here. Now we know that watt is actually equal to, so let me convert this right over here. It is actually 100 megawatt. So 100 megawatt. So 1 watt is actually equal to 1 joule per second. So megawatt, so it would become 10 to power 3 kilojoule per second. Now we do not require this in second, we required it in hour. So we know that there are 3600 seconds per hour, right? So that the second cancels out, and as you can see that there is 10 to power 3 kilojoule per second per 1 megawatt. So there are 10 to power 3 kilojoule per second in 1 megawatt. So megawatt will cancel out, second will cancel out, and we will remain left with kilojoule per hour. On the other hand, we have this 975.7 kilojoule per kg. Now to find out this kg, we have to multiply this with mass. To remove this kg, we have to multiply this with a mass, because it is per kg specific, and we need the total mass, and you know that whenever we need the total mass, we multiply it with a mass, which is the required mass. So divide it over here. So we need this, so keep it over here, इसको यहीं छोड़ दें और इसको नीचे आकर डिवाइड कर दें. So ये हो जाएगा आपके पास 100 megawatt multiplied by 10 to power 3 kilojoule per second per 1 megawatt into 3600 second per hour divided by 975.7 kilojoule per kilogram. So after this will cancel out with this, kilojoule with kilojoule, second with second, and you are left with the mass flow rate in, which is 3.69 into 10 to power 5 kilogram per hour. So this is the mass flow rate, the required mass flow rate. This problem is a bit complex and required your attention, and I suppose and I expect you guys to solve this problem by yourself and understand what is the processing take place and how to find out the values from the table. Soon I am going to give you an assignment related to these numericals. So it would be better for you to get yourself involved in these questions. If you have any kind of query, ask me anytime, and solve the problem by your own self. It's very important because soon an assignment will be launched on the Google Classroom, and you are going to solve that. Thank you.